Well, it's Wednesday, 11 o'clock Pacific time. So excited. I have a great guest for you here today. We're going to talk about the Bay Area Storytelling Festival. It's coming up this Saturday, Saturday, at the Sonoma County in Santa Rosa. I'm so excited. If you know anything about me, you know I love storytelling. A lot of the work I do with businesses are with executives that think they have no stories to tell when they have to speak. We'd love to have you come in here. It's joinraylive.com. Just pop in there, joinraylive.com. You can come in and join us, guests. But I'm so excited to have the producer of this whole event from 6 Feet Apart Productions, one of my favorite named companies of all time. Please welcome Claire Hennessy. Claire, come on in.
Hi, Ray. How are you doing?
Oh, we got our stripes mixed up.
We did, I know, but at least we got the memo about the stripes.
We did. We got the stripe memo. You know, the vertical stripes slimming. My head looks smaller.
Yes, I didn't get that. I just got this, but you can only see this bit, in which case that's fine.
Yeah. oh, you're supposed to wear pants. It's still.
Don't ask me to stand up, please.
Yeah. Yeah. This is like sit down comedy. We'll just do that and make sure it happens that way. I'm just going to put this up there real quick. If anybody wants to come in and ask a question today, it's joinraylive.com. You can also make comments. I'll see those. We'll put them in there. We'll talk about it. But we're here talking about storytelling. Before we talk about the festival a little bit, Claire, let's just talk about, you've been telling stories for a while. You love it. What makes a compelling story?
Well, this is something I have learned so much more about over the pandemic. You know, I thought I knew about storytelling because I'd been to the Moth and I'd been to some other local storytelling events, but it wasn't until the pandemic and I, created 6 Feet Apart Productions with Regina Stoops that I really realized how little I knew about storytelling. It's such a massive subject, if you like, and there are so many different types of storytelling. So, with true personal stories, which tends to be what I do mostly, humorous ones. You need to have, it's a bit like writing a book. You need to have a beginning, a middle, and an end with some sort of story arc. And going to the places like the Moth, where it's a 5-minute deadline, it's really good for honing down your storytelling and working out what is actually the point of my story, which I didn't realize to begin with. I didn't really often have a point of my story. They were just funny.
Well, one of the things that I really adhere to, and I think it was JFK that said that the point of speaking in public is to change the world. And when you do have whatever it is you're saying, whatever little thing that happens, you can connect a story to it, and you can connect a message, and it makes you memorable. It makes you magical. It makes you magnetic when you're able to do it. And it works. I've always said that storytelling is really story selling. And if you're selling, you're always doing story. You're telling stories. The person with the best story wins. And it's fabulous to have these festivals like this. We have someone in the green room. I don't know if they're ready to come on at stage, but I'm going to bring them on just to see what happened. I'm not even sure who it is, but they're there. We're here. Let's bring them on. Here we go. There are you coming on with us? Oh, they chose to mute. They're muted. Okay. So they're just hanging out in the back, because in the green room, I'm going to take them back out to the green room. In the green room, I don't know if you saw that in there. We had the charcuterie board, and we've got the cold cuts, and there's a hot tub with a refrigerator, Dove bars in there. I don't know if you had a chance to play around with that. But yeah, that's back there. So this Friday, actually, first, tell us about the festival, Claire.
Well, the festival itself is really well known. It's the largest storytelling festival on the West Coast. It's been going, this is its 33rd iteration of it. It's moved around all over the place. In 2017, it took a pause. And then over the pandemic, I met Linda Yamoto, who has been the chair of the festival for virtually all of it. And so I got to know her, and then for some reason I thought it would be a good idea to put my hand up and say, why don't we start it up again? Obviously, I was clueless about how much actual work it takes to put on a festival. It's phenomenal, but it's been lovely. So we moved it to Orinda, to their community centre for 2021 and yeah, 2021 and 22 and 23. Can't remember now. Maybe it was 22 and 23. And it was lovely there. We really liked it. And then Brandon Spars, who's a local storyteller who I know you know, Ray,
Yep.
he works at Sonoma Academy. And they were having this amazing theatre built and a whole complex, really, the Performing Arts Centre. And they really wanted to bring community in and get the local community to use it and take advantage of this fantastic resource. And so we've agreed to go up there, and they've done us a really special rate, and it's been fabulous, and the theatre is amazing, really stunning. So we're moving out to Santa Rosa, which of course our audience is really in the East Bay or San Francisco, so it's a bit of a trek up the freeway, but not that far actually, and they're just mending the freeways now, and it's actually not too bad at all. And there's free parking, and we're doing wonderful things. We've got a free movie on Friday with Kea Loa, who is this incredible slam poet and yogi and whatever, an amazing storyteller from Hawaii. And he made this amazing film called The Story of Everything, which is about like a creation story. He did it because he had a son, and then he split up from the mother of the son, and he was sort of realizing, what's it all about? Why am I doing this, and what responsibility to bring a child into the world? And so then he created this film, and it's magical. It's really lovely. So he narrates it throughout with slam poetry. He's in it the whole time. The colors and the graphics are stunning. It's really creative. So his the film company Engaging the Senses Foundation have sponsored him to come over and show the film, and then he'll be there with the director for a Q&A afterwards. So that's free to everybody.
And he's also doing a workshop on creating a more compelling story the next day. For those of you that don't know who Kea Loa, he's been at the White House. He's been all over the place. He is actually the poet laureate of Hawaii.
The first one, yeah.
And look at that little thing I've got, like a little border thing. I had that prepared for that moment right there.
He's so clever. Well done, Ray. And Kalo is also one of our featured tellers. So he'll be telling stories on Friday night at Sunset Stories, which is going to be fabulous, on the patio, outside, with looking over the beautiful countryside. We're going to have wine and beer and lots of lovely food. And then you can listen to stories while you're eating and enjoying the ambience. So he'll be one of those.
We have a quick question from Annabo Ventura. Where will the event be? Sorry, joined you all late. Well, let's give them that option to go there again. Thanks for asking that question. Let me get that one up there. It is at the Sonoma Academy in Santa Rosa.
So that's Farmers Lane, and it's easy to find. It's just right at the end of the road. There's free parking. We're going to have, the Sunset Stories has food, but on Saturday we're having a food truck and a coffee truck. So you can, and there'll be an open mic for anybody to tell a story at lunchtime. So just come and tell a story.
And here's the great part is that because Claire is here and you're listening and watching this, there is a link right there for the tickets. And if you use the code Sonoma50 from Claire to you right out there today, you will save half off the ticket price, which I believe they're $20 tickets, but so it'll be $10 tickets.
For some of them. I mean, that's if you want to come to a single session. If you're not sure about storytelling or you don't have time, you can just come to one session, which will be $20 or $10 with the code. But, come all day. It's going to be amazing. There's so many fun things happening. There's, as I say, Kayla is doing a writing storytelling workshop. Karen Amano is doing another workshop, how to make your storytelling more dynamic with movement and expressions, and she's amazing, so don't miss that one either. So there's all sorts of things going on, whatever you feel like coming to.
And if you are a person that speaks for a living, and we all speak for a living, the soft skills, basically 85% of your success in life come from soft skills. And that's a Harvard Business Review study, just for all of you out there on LinkedIn, listen to this right here. And if you cannot, basically your words, your actions, expressions, emotions, both internally and externally, have to all be congruent for your message to get across. So if you're a salesperson and want to raise your sales, come to this thing and learn how to tell tales. Hey, it rhymed. Isn't that fantastic? Look at me go, Claire. Beware. I don't care.
Genius, Ray, genius.
And so use all these things to your advantage. This is just a pittance of price compared to the value that you get out of this thing. And oh my God, Brandon Spars is amazing. I've seen him before. The rumor has it at the middle event there, I might be up there talking to people. So that's a little extra thing for you. So come by, grab lunch, do that. And here's look at this. Sounds amazing. See, she's out there, honestly. And she loves the 50% off the ticket. So there, we're rolling here. This is unbelievable. This is gonna be fantastic. So yeah, I've seen several of these people. They're fantastic. You can get something out of this thing. And here's the good thing: there's no face painting. I don't like events that have face painting because I have a wide surface area.
And then tell us, so apart from Kealoha, we've got Gene Tagaban, who's a Native American storyteller coming from Washington State. And he's amazing. He's been last year was the featured teller at the National Festival in Jonesboro, which, if you don't know, that's the biggest storytelling festival in the world. The whole of Jonesboro closes down and has massive tents all over the place and that is the pinnacle of storytelling. So he was there last year and he does this amazing performance, and he's doing it for us specially. And he has this whole raven regalia costume, and it's all stories that his grandmother told him growing up, and they're just very universal stories. So you'll be able to see how something that he will tell will resonate with you. And you haven't had that experience because it's got a universal theme to it. And this is maybe one of the last times that you see him do this actual performance, because he's finding that the costume as such is quite heavy, and as we get older, he doesn't think his back can take it anymore. So don't miss that opportunity. Also, I wanted to say, if any of you can't come in person, we are live streaming it and recording it. So there's that option as well.
So you've got the Friday evening of storytelling.
So we've got the free film on Friday, which is at 4:00 in the theatre. Anybody can come. You don't have to register. Turn up, go and see the film. It's really worth seeing, let me tell you. And then that's at 4:00. And then at 6:30, just opposite on the patio outside, we've got Sunset Stories, which will have 4 of our featured tellers. There's Gene Tagaban, there's Karen Amano, there's Brandon Spars, there's Kealoha, and then we've got a special guest, Alton Chung, who is also at the National Festival this year. He's been telling for years. He's from Hawaii as well, and he's a friend, and he's a really great storyteller, the best giggle and laugh ever. So he's going to be there as well on Friday. And then on Saturday, we start at 10:00 with Diane Falat is also one of our feature tellers. So she'll be there on Saturday with all the others, and they'll be telling stories all throughout the day.
And you have the opportunity, Claire will be there live, and you can hear what did you say, the best giggle? And
Alton Chung has the best laugh and giggle ever.
Best laugh and giggles. You'll hear the British spin on everything. So it's just fantastic. The input on that, there's all kinds of Saturday workshops, these fantastic people. This is not like going to the barbecue with your family and your drunk Uncle Philo that starts talking about saying, I was there with Karen and what was it, Karen or what? Judy, was it Karen that was there? No, these are entertainment. This is great. This is fun stuff. This is stuff you can learn. You can learn how to do it. You can observe how it's done right. If you don't know what great looks like, this is what's going to show you. They're going to teach you the things that they know how to do. It's a fantastic opportunity. It's kind of like going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and having like Springsteen, U2, the Beatles. What's that?
Coldplay, anybody.
Coldplay, all these people in one spot.
Yeah.
For you, and because Claire's here for you, it's half price. Oh my God. Look at this happen. So,
it is. And actually to be able to see these people on your doorstep, I mean, because half of them you have to travel to go and see them. So we've brought Karen in from the West Coast. We've got Gene from the Washington State, Kealoha and Alton from Hawaii. So, and then Diane Falat is a local teller, but,
and Brandon Spars from 1125 Farmer Avenue.
is the best. And we love it. I think Brandon Sparks gets the award for being the nicest, really most generous and kindest people around. And he's a brilliant storyteller, hilarious and very animated. So he's a treat, just all in even of himself.
Yeah. He's a gift. Fantastic teacher. If you're a teacher out there and you want to learn how to be a better teacher, and take a look at Brandon Spars. He's fantastic.
I do adore him. He's a great. I wish I had a teacher like Brandon.
Yeah. I would wonder how twisted would I be if I had a teacher like Brandon. So, I don't think I would have enjoyed him. I don't think I needed him. We did. So when I was in high school, we actually had a teacher, Jerry Piro, who he was the biology teacher. No, I forget what it was. Some hard science teacher. And the day before Christmas vacation, his class grew from like 20 kids to 80 because all he did was tell stories.
Wow.
And he did some amazing things in medical school, which probably people wouldn't like to hear about now, but they made the Herb Cain column and he did all kinds of things. I won't even tell him just in case that somebody gets, I should just tell it anyway, because it's funny. They did things like they had access to the anatomy lab. So they used the body parts in different ways. Like they had the old janitor that used to clean up the rooms at night. The light was one of these strings that hung down, and they took a hand and they put it onto this when the guy reached up in the room. They did tricks with people's arms on the Golden Gate Bridge. It was just, it was fascinating for when you're like 16 years old. This stuff is fascinating.
Yeah.
So,
a friend of mine in England's a teacher, and she's a physics teacher, and she did this experiment where they all had to hold hands, and then she gave one of them an electric shock, and it went through the whole group of kids. And I mean, obviously they didn't hurt themselves, but they absolutely loved it. Although she did get a bit for telling off. Although she's a brilliant teacher, but they all kids loved it because they all experienced what an electric shock was like.
And Mr. McMillan did that too. And look, so we did that in 8th grade.
Oh,
and
right.
he got it down. It was every the time each time, and then he kept kicking. It was like playing musical chairs. He kept kicking one out, and they got it down to 2. And I think they both died that day. But that's not.
Don't.
But they're like whoa. And here's the thing: you and I both remember the names of those teachers.
Yeah.
So the ability to tell stories is what makes you amazingly magical. We do have another question here. Can I bring a well-behaved sausage dog?
I don't know. It won't be allowed in the theatre. Absolutely not. There's no food or drink anywhere in the Performing Arts Centre. So he could be outside, I would imagine, but I would say probably not, because it's a school campus and they are quite strict on the school campus. It's obviously a non-smoking campus. No food or drink anywhere in the theatre.
Not a hot dog, a dachshund. So it's a real dog. I'm guessing that. Well, here's the other thing too: is what if it's a service dog? Then you let it in.
It can be outside, but it cannot be inside the theatre. That's all I would say.
I had a friend that went and was going to a concert. And he got a burrito, and he was eating it, and he's going through there, and they said, "Oh, you can't bring this in." And he looked at him, and he looked at his burrito, and said, "This is a service burrito." And they started to laugh, like, "Go on in," and they still let him bring it in. So,
oh, how funny!
Yeah.
Sadly, we won't be allowed to do that. There were no service burritos.
All right, so she's in there. Thank you for that. Thanks for the questions.
Good question. I will absolutely double check on that as well. No one had brought that question up, and I don't have a dog, so I will find out.
If anyone has questions and you see this afterward, please ask questions, and I will make sure that the questions get to Claire, and Claire answers them. If I know them, I'll answer them, and be happy to do that. So this is kind of like you were telling me earlier when we were sitting in the hot tub back in the green room. It was kind of like it's almost like herding cats a little bit, because you've got all these talents showing up, And I saw the documentary on We Are the World when they brought all the people.
Oh, I did too. Wasn't
Isn't
that
that
brilliant?
great?
I loved it.
Is that kind of like the experience that you?
But not quite as bad as that. I mean, God, I can't imagine how stressful that must have been with all the egos in place. Luckily, our tellers are not, their egos are normal sized. It's just there's so many moving parts, and with a live streaming, and it's a working school, so we've trying to adjust to their schedules as well when we can go and do checks and things. So it's a complicated thing. I think Sonoma Academy are quite stressed because they've got a lot going on because it's such an amazing theatre. They're just, all the kids are loving it and using it. They're doing plays with massive, great big, sets and everything. I mean, it's a stunning theatre. So, it is. Linda Yamota calls it the festival death spiral. So the last few weeks are just when you're trying to remember all those tiny little things you have to do. And, I went to Staples yesterday to get some cardstock for badges and they didn't have the right one. So it's all these things that you just, you don't always think about, little tiny weeny details, but that's part. And we haven't got a brilliantly large committee. There's about 6 of us, 4 main ones, and then some people who are just amazing who help us all the time. So, and Storytelling Association of California are fabulous. They've backed it the whole way through since we've been doing it. In fact, this SAC, which is what its shortened name, we came into being because of the Bay Area Storytelling Festival. Years and years ago, they thought there was a need. Why isn't there an association for storytelling in California? So they set one up. So, the two are so symbiotic that, they're part and parcel.
Very nice. Very nice. And because I loved watching that special on We Are the World. My favorite part was how uncomfortable Bob Dylan was.
I know, because he couldn't sing as well as the others.
He goes, I don't, this is not my type of thing. But the best part of that whole thing, when he was saying that, and then Stevie Wonder made him feel all right because he did a perfect. He goes, no, here's what. It's a choice we're taking. You're saving our lives. That was Stevie Wonder doing that. And he was spot on. And like, oh, I could do that. Yes, you could do that. Okay, here we go.
I know. They were all fantastic. And it was interesting to see whose egos and that you think of as a big star. And they were absolutely terrified about the person next to them who they thought was an even bigger star. So, no matter where you are in your life, you've got to be happy, I think, with where you are, because there's always going to be someone who's different or be more successful in that field. And however high you get, there's always something, isn't there, else to achieve. So you've got to learn to let a lot of stuff go and just be where you are.
You have to learn to quit comparing and just improve.
Yeah, that's very true.
And because if you look at, there's always somebody out there that can just blow you away and or just blow everybody away. And the thing is, that can happen once for somebody, and you could see it and go, "Oh my God, I'm not good enough to do this." And everybody has one good day at something. And when I toured doing stand up, every comedian had one great joke. They might not have another one in half an hour, but they had one thing. There was one guy that I worked with, and he would end his show with the same thing every night. And it was a reference to like the Johnny Carson show, but he would get nothing for half an hour. And at the end he said, thank you very much. These are the jokes. Where do I sit Johnny? Because at the end of the Tonight Show, if Carson, when you were first time comic on there, you had to kill to sit down and talk to Johnny your first time. And he was making fun of that. And I just thought that was hysterical because he's saying that and nobody in the room would get it, but it would crack me up. So I waited for half an hour, for that thing. And the comedians love to see somebody that isn't doing well, really only if they know they're good. This guy wasn't good, but you get that one laughter. There's no sound in the room. And you hear the, ha! That's the sound of a comedian going, I love that. But nobody else did right there.
Oh, that must be crushing. That's the amazing thing, because at one point, that's how I got into storytelling, really, because I thought, I know I want to be a stand-up comedian, but I was thinking of a stand-up comedian in England, which is a sort of different thing. And then I went to a workshop, actually, luckily, and a storyteller / comedian lady then did a workshop on what your career path, if you were brilliant, would be in comedy in America and how you get there, which was grueling, let me tell you, and very few get there, particularly women. And then what it's like in storytelling. I completely changed direction and I hadn't even gone that far. I'm going for storytelling. And the best thing about it, if you tell funny stories like I do, is that in storytelling, nobody expects you to be funny. There's all different types of stories. So if you make them laugh, it's just a pleasant surprise. So the pressure's off.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it also is a really, really supportive community. Because I do feel, I'm sure, a lot of comedians are supportive as well, but it's more of a cutthroat type industry to go into, whereas storytelling isn't. It's just very gentle, very supportive and lovely. I remember being really tired and going to a local storytelling slam type event where it's your own competition, they vote to see who wins, and halfway through I was so tired I just forgot what I was saying, forgot the story, forgot what I was doing, and my only thought was I really want to go to bed. And instead of being booing and horrible, the audience started suggesting what my next line might be. Bless them. And afterwards they all came up and said, oh, don't worry, that happens to everybody, it's okay. They were so lovely.
Well, it's like, so just thinking about it now, stand-up is kind of like New York City and storytelling is like California.
Yeah, like the Bay Area. I know, all lovely and wonderful, and let's support you, which is great. And I do like it, and a lot of diversity and inclusion, which is really fantastic. And also, anybody can tell a story. Anybody. It doesn't matter who, and you can just get up and tell a story, because we've all got stories where we don't all have jokes, and we're not always. I tend to forget that I can't tell a joke because I forget the punchline. But there are a lot of. It's sort of a bit more complicated to really be a good comedian, whereas you can. I mean, obviously, to be a really good storyteller, it takes a lot of practice. But we can all do it. We can all just, places like the Moth and other storytelling events, and we 6 Feet Apart have an online one if you don't want to get out in person, and it's just a great way to practice. And if you listen to stories, like coming to the festival and just listen to other people, you learn so much about what makes a really good story. Why did I like that story? What message did I get out of it that related to me? And so that really helps when you're in business as well. So like you can be trying to sell or talk to a client about something, and you just pop in a personal story. It makes you more approachable if they know about you, and it's just a bit more interesting than just talking about the product, and you can relate it to it in a really good way.
Well, in the two things are so side by side. So when you tell a story, the least important person in the story is me. It's the audience. And when you sell things, and when you talk in business, they don't care what it is you're going to do. They're going to care what happens to them. And so if you can take that same principle and apply it, it's equally part effective in doing that. It's like there are so many people, and I created this whole thing called the humor algorithm, which you jumped in on the ground floor of and gave me some insights on what to do to improve it and all this kind of stuff. But the whole idea behind that was all these people who are these tech brilliant people that have these wonderful, they know their ones and zeros, but they don't understand the human interaction that it takes to sell it. And I thought this would be like $1 million product to go into Silicon Valley, and everybody would get this thing on how to be able to really colorfully create a product in the eyes of their customers that they love from an internal data standpoint, and the customers need to do it from what it does for them standpoint. And it really opened my eyes to a lot of things that helped me, do the things I'm doing today and everything with that. But it was people with great ideas sometimes can't sell them because they can't tell other people what they get out from it. And that's what storytelling does. It gives you insight into other people's lives through their eyes and how it applies to your world.
Totally.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What was I going to ask you about as well? Oh, the name. It's one of my favorite business names ever, 6 Feet Apart Productions.
Well, sadly, I can't take credit for that. I wish I could. But when we first set it up, at the very beginning of the pandemic, so March 2020 is when we set up 6 Feet Apart. And we were just struggling for a name and what should we do? We knew it was going to be online. And then Regina and I really didn't know each other very well. And the connector was someone called Mary Karuba, who's an excellent local storyteller, comedian. She's been, public speaker. She's brilliant. And she came in and corralled us, said, come on, let's start up online because nothing's going to be, and she could see the future more than we could. I just thought it'll be a couple of weeks like most of us. So we set it up and what should we call it? And then her sister suggested 6 Feet Apart. And then Mary decided that she'd come up with a brilliant idea, got us to do it. She was going to back off, left Regina and I. And luckily, we get on incredibly well. So here we are 4 years later with a brilliant name, thanks to Mary and her sister.
That's funny how some of the best lines and best things come from other people's contributions, and not necessarily the person you would expect the contribution. I expect Mary to come up with that because she's fantastic. But it's like somebody's sister. And I have so many stories where the best line in the story just came from a random person that saw it one day and said, would you ever thought about saying this here? I go, no, but I will now.
Yes.
And sometimes it comes from the audience. I have my friend Cody Katula is a stand-up used to where he was on stage, and he's a nice looking guy, and but not like a high energy individual or anything like that. He had this one joke. I don't remember what the joke was, but I remember the punchline, and he was standing there and his punchline was, and I don't think I do very well in prison. And this guy, this big, huge, like 350-pound man sitting in the front row, when he said that, looked up and said, oh, you do fine. So that is his moment where that's the new closing line to that joke. But that was, sometimes you can't see these things. And that's why it's important to see people that do things well, hear their insights on how you can take what they do and make yourself better. And that's the value of these festivals. You can have fun just by going and watching. You can have fun by learning. You can have fun meeting people that are trying to become better or that are already there. It's just it's a whirlwind of joy that can come out of being one place. And that place this weekend is the Bay Area Storytelling Festival at the Sonoma County in Santa Rosa. How was that?
That was excellent. You should be on television or radio or something. Brilliant. How can you get it all in one sentence?
Live at the Sonoma Academy in Santa Rosa, we've got the storytellers.
Excellent.
What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Sunday. No, I'm not. Well, I am too. I must admit, lying. But no, just really all of it. I mean, I particularly requested Karen Amano to tell this story, so I can't. And I'm emceeing that. I have to cherry pick that one. So,
nice.
I can't wait to see Karen and Brandon. They're doing a joint concert. Obviously, Gene Tagaban with his Raven Regalia. I'm looking forward to Sunset Stories as well. I think that's going to be so lovely to be looking out in the sunshine as the sun's going down, eating lovely food, drinking wine, listening to stories. I think that's going to be amazing too. But I mean, there isn't really a bad thing on there. I mean, you know, we cherry picked it all. There's also going to be a youth concert. Brandon's got 6 of his kids from the school, and we did that last year as well. And they're so brilliant. I mean, they've got so much confidence. I can't believe that they could just get up, tell a really good story, and not be embarrassed and shy. I could never have done that. You know, maybe it's in Britain we're not quite as confident as America, which is true. But these kids were amazing. I mean, they absolutely brilliant. So we're really looking forward to that as well.
It's so funny because I did an event with a bunch of high school kids, and we took groups of them, and there were like 8, and they all told a story, and they kind of voted on which one they thought was the best. And there was like 200 people in this thing, and so we took the one winner and we coached the one winner to make it a little bit better. And I said, everybody was picking the good-looking jock to tell the story, and his story wasn't as good. It was this kind of small girl that was standing there, and she believed in what she was doing. It was a great story. I said, no, we'll go with that one. And I said, here's what you need to do to add to it. This will be your biggest laugh line in the whole thing. And she goes, I don't know if it, I go, just trust me. And so she's sitting there and she's telling the story and she's destroying the room. And she got to the point where that one line I told her to say, and she looked at me and she winked at me, and then she delivered that line, and it killed the room. And I forget if she winked before or after, but she had the presence of mind in there to go, yeah, okay, you were right. And this was great. And she won the award for the best story and this whole thing. But what they can do and what they believe in, seeing them in the room together, interacting as if it's almost like school, but then seeing them on stage when they're in charge, 2 different personality types. And it was just so much fun to see. It's like, yeah, that shows how you can do it.
I know, and they're spongy brains that can take it all in, you know, not like me when I just feel a bit old now.
Yeah.
But I was blown away. And so I think they'll be even better this year. So come for that too.
Yeah, that'll be a blast. We got uh, all the people coming from all around the world, workshops, sunsets, fun, food, no sausage dogs.
I will check on that. I will check, but
Yeah.
nothing in the theatre itself. But yes, there's lots of places to sit outside. You know, it's like I mean, just such a gorgeous venue. It's wonderful and free parking and easy. There's elevators. It's, you know, ADA accessible. I mean, couldn't be better designed if you did it on paper yourself, which I'm
So
sure
if you're watching this now, take this down, the BASF2024.eventcombo.com. Half price code is Sonoma50. If you don't get it right now and you're traveling, you're hearing this or you're watching it, we'll come in and take a look. This stays up here. It's on LinkedIn. It's on Facebook. It's on YouTube.
Well, the other alternative is if you go to our website, which we've changed. So our initials of SFAP for 6 Feet Apart Productions, sfapshows.com. And then if you don't even have to remember the BASF, because when you get to our main landing page, you'll see at the very top, click here, and then it will take you to our Bay Area page. And it's got all the details. We've got the schedule. We've got postcards about it. We've got bios of all the tellers. I mean, whatever you need to know. So yeah, easy peasy. That would be another way of doing it.
And that's what I just put up right there. So that's also something you can look up right there. Look at me go.
No.
And let's do this thing. I'll see you there this Saturday, and we'll have a great time. And if you have any questions, put them in here, and I'll make sure Claire gets them or answer them if I can. There's one last comment on here. We just got this dog, so we take her everywhere.
I will ask for you. Don't you worry. I'll find out. I don't know, but there's plenty of places you can be with the dog outside. It's just that everything will be happening inside apart from the open mic. But I'll find out for you. Also, if you do come, you can buy tickets on the door as well, so you don't have to worry about it now. And come and say hello to me if you come. Just you'll be able to find me. I'm Pink. I'll be around everywhere, so just come and find me and say hello.
That is fantastic. Well, thank you, Claire, for being here, and thank all of you for watching this thing. Again, if you're watching it after we were live, ask those questions. Coming up this weekend, it's bigger than the funny cars, the dragsters at the Fremont Raceway. This is fantastic. It's a national event, really, and it's ready to go to rock and roll. And we got Claire here to there's stories to be told.
Thank you, Ray. And thank you everyone for watching and listening.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.